Hello and welcome to the Sandra Schmirler Foundation Telethon. It is the second virtual event that we are holding this year. And before we begin, I do want to just acknowledge that here in Regina, we are on Treaty 4 territory lands, the traditional lands of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect and honor the treaties, and we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we are committed to moving forward with Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. We are all treaty people. We also acknowledge that the City of Thunder Bay has been built on the traditional territory of Fort Williams First Nation, signatory to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. We also recognize the contributions made to our community by the Métis people. I am so honored to be back for another year at this telethon, and I am so excited to have some amazing co-hosts joining me this year. I have Joan McCusker. I feel like you don't even need an introduction. I'm going to be honest. Do you need an introduction?
Yes, well, sure.
And the ever so wonderful Daryl Davis also joining us. Thank you so much.
It's great being here with you guys. It's going to be a wonderful day.
I'm looking forward to the fun that this telethon day is.
And that's what we've been talking about before we went live, that we're here all about fun. Obviously, we were talking just before we went on air that this telethon has been running since 2002, Joan, and you know a little bit more about that.
That's right. The foundation was formed actually in 2001, and there was about 8 to 10 of us that were on that original board, and this outpouring from Canada that, you know, what are we going to do with the support that Canada wants to give? And so the very first telethon was in Brandon in 2002, and we raised $14,000, and at that time that just felt absolutely huge. And our big fundraisers at that time were pins, and you can see that we're wearing several of the latest incarnations of the pins, but the pins predated the actual charity portion of the foundation, and that's where it kind of all started. I
do want to touch on I would say the star of this telethon, which is Sandra Schmirler herself, and we know that she's basically a legend in this part of the country, actually right across the country, really. Daryl, you go a little ways back with that.
Well, Joan will tell you that about 25 years ago, I followed Joan and Sandra and Jan and Marcy all the way, and Anita and Atina actually, all the way to Bern, Switzerland. They took me on a long road trip to Maple Creek, Swift Current, Vancouver, then to Bern. It was a wonderful. And Sandra, I found out a lot about Sandra, her sense of humor and her focus. It was great looking at the introduction with all the familiar faces, but Joan will tell you, I don't know if I've ever seen an athlete who had better focus than Sandra. When she was getting in a hack and started twirling her rings, man, she was going to make that shot. And following that rink was wonderful. They had all just become mums. Sandra was pregnant with Sarah, so it was great stories, and I think that's why I'm here, to reminisce a little bit and throw some stories back to Joan a little bit. Sabine?
And I love that. I think last year, you know, you hear some amazing stories, and you hear this, it's almost like a ripple effect or a domino effect that such a kind, wonderful, caring person, and it's just kind of flowed and paid forward to where we see this money that we're raising, $14,000 way back in 2002. I think as of around noon today, we were sitting at just over 180,000. Wow. So we know people want to give. We know people want to help out. Joan, do you want to talk a little bit about where we see this money going?
Well, what's raised today will, of course, go into a fund, but the main focus of the Schmirler Foundation is neonatal intensive care units in hospitals in every province and every territory. And we began this process by following the Scotties way back in 2002. One of the first hospitals that would have gotten a grant would have been Brandon, because they hosted the Scotties. But now with this outpouring of donations from everywhere, we can give to hospitals right across the country, regardless of whether they hold a Canadian curling championship or not. So we have given over $6 million in donations to those NICUs, is short for neonatal intensive care units, across the country. There also is a sidebar. You know, first for Sandra, her priority was family and trying to help those babies that were born too soon, too small, or too sick to become a champion like her. The second branch that came a little bit later in the foundation is giving junior curling scholarships. So some of that money will go to some junior curlers every year and help them to become a champion as well.
So we are going to hear some stories throughout the day about how, how these funds have helped those who have had little babies in the NICU. So we're going to continue to hear those stories. But I also think it's important that we highlight the sport that we're talking about today. There's been a few games already this morning. Did you guys want to touch on that? Because I feel like you're a little bit more wise when it comes to the sport than I might be.
I watched last night's draw. I didn't get a chance to see this morning's. Joan, were you watching it all?
I was watching, the Alberta was playing against BC. I was going to say Nova Scotia because it's Marianne Arsenault, who used to play with Colleen Jones. And so Alberta managed to win that. A very, very close game. That was their first win. They're 1-1. And so really interesting that how everybody's going to kind of mix it up so far. And I think Team Canada is 2-0. And we've got the surprise would be New Brunswick is 2-0. And early in the pools. And so there's a lot of curling still to come, but
Yes.
you have to carry these records on into the next round, the championship pool. So every win is very, very important.
You were close, though, Joan. The team you were coaching lost
Yes.
to Laura Walker in the Alberta final, right?
That's right. Team Scheidegger, I just want to stab me right in the heart.
Sorry,
Hey,
Johnny.
we did have a battle against Laura Walker. I've been coaching team Casey Scheidegger for the last couple of years, and Laura made a great draw to win that game and represent Alberta. And so I'm watching all of them very closely.
So we're going to have more games. Is there, I feel like it's probably not correct for me to say, is there one team that you're cheering for over the other? Is that wrong? Did I just do something bad? Well,
I'm a little newspaper writer. I'm not allowed to cheer for anybody. I just like watching the competition. Now,
And my blood runs green, right? Like, I'll always cheer
I
for
think
Saskatchewan.
all of ours does here.
Gonna cheer for Saskatchewan. They look pretty good, too. They lost their opener last night, but they looked really good. So.
And they're this afternoon. They're
Yes.
in the afternoon draw. And for those who may be wondering, we'll be checking in between the draws. So we're not going to take over that time that you're worried about missing out on one of those. We're gonna step back politely and let you take that all in. We will be checking in throughout and in between the draws. I wanted to just touch on, we talked about, the first ever telethon, 14,000. Last year we raised, this is actually very amazing because last year, just with the pandemic, which I was trying to avoid saying, but you got to say the word. With the pandemic, it was questionable on what kind of goal we would meet. Last year we hit $700,758, which is unbelievable. So we've put so much faith in all of the fans and all of you tuning in right across the country that today's goal is $750,000. Do you have anyone you want to challenge that may be tuning in?
Ooh, we can start thinking about that. Sports writers. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the media. I'm teaching a journalism class. Let's get some of the media, the hard-shelled guys and women who I deal with in the media. Let's get them on board a little bit, and they can help out. I'm going over at the first break to make my donation, Sabine.
I love it.
I've already made my donation this morning, like I always do. I would love to challenge that age group that is probably our children's, as we think about those kids in the 20s that, many of us in Saskatchewan grew up with giving a lot of donations to people that you need, and you kind of lost touch with charities. And I'd like to challenge that younger age group to connect with something that's really close to home, and that is Sandra Schmerler with helping sick babies. You might not be able to give like a few bucks, but dig deep.
And the surprising thing is that there's so many people that we know that it's just a friend of a friend that someone that has had to be, had their baby in NICU or a connection somewhere. So just know that it doesn't matter what the amount is. Every dollar counts, basically.
It does. I was reading some of the things that they buy, too. The little terms like a billy blanket for jaundiced babies. That rather than absorbing the ultraviolet lights, the blankets wrap around the babies so that they're a lot safer and they don't have to be taken out and handled so much. So there's all these little, I've learned a lot of new terms over the last few days, guys. So if you want to say what's the money being used for, boy, there's a lot of amazing equipment that obviously is required in these hospitals. And we're learning a little bit more about it as we go along. And if you phone phone and ask. We'll give you some answers.
And that's something that's really important to mention. You know, I think for the most part, for me, it was the incubators that you see is a common piece of equipment that so many are using in NICU, and the Billy blankets that nobody would really think of.
Well, and one of the donations here in Regina at the General Hospital, they actually created a little surgical room that's right in the neonatal unit, so babies don't have to be transported to like a big operating room. So one of the donations was to create this little room so that there was less stress on the babies. So, you know, these grants are individualized to hospitals as to what they need, and sometimes it's upgrading technology.
Right.
These very fine, you can imagine these tiny little babies that need to have operations, and the technology that's needed to make that less invasive.
I have to say, for a brief moment, back in my broadcasting days, I had a chance to actually volunteer as a cuddler.
Oh yes.
In the NICU,
boy.
and you just mentioned tiny babies, and I just remembered, like, they just need, you know, all the help that we can provide them, and whether it is a cuddle from volunteering or a Billy blanket or, you know, the room, whatever it is. Again, our goal is $750,000, and I feel like we've been talking and we missed the part of telling you how you can donate. So perhaps we will share that. I know across the screen the number has been coming up, so you can call 1-866-210-6011. I believe we were also told that there is a message that some may be receiving. It's an
email.
Yeah, there's also an email, but there's a message that some people may be concerned that they can't get through, but that is because so many people are calling, which we were grateful for. So if you just hang tight, if you were on the call, just hang tight and someone will answer. And I do want to give you a heads up that perhaps throughout the day, you might get a chance to chat with one of my wonderful co-hosts, because I believe they may be taking some time to get on the phones, and you can share some stories with the callers as well.
Some of them are true as well, some of those stories. So yeah, we'll have a lot of fun on those. But yeah, Bernadette McIntyre is the chair of the Sandra Schmirler Foundation, talked us into this, and you know what an active volunteer she is, and that was part of the pitch. You're going to work on the phones too, and I said, that's great. I'm ready for that.
That's usually the fun part
of
all this, along with hearing all the stories and sharing those stories from across Canada. If you don't want to get on the phone, if you happen to be on your computer where you're tuning in to the telethon right now, you can also head on over to sandraschmirler.org to donate. So we are going to actually be checking in with the Schmirler family, I believe. Am I right?
I think you're right.
Oh, we have a video first. Are we going to go to the video?
So we want to hear from you today, your stories, maybe who's inspired you to donate today. Do you want to challenge someone? What was your favorite memory of Sandra? Have you, like so many Canadian families, relied on a neonatal intensive care unit in your community? Send us a tweet, comment on Facebook, or write a comment on our Instagram. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at Sandra Schmirler is our handle. And we also encourage you to use the hashtag #ChampionsStartSmall. So that's hashtag #ChampionsStartSmall, or you can use the Scotties Tournament of Hearts hashtag, which is STOH 2022. And not only does every dollar count and help us get towards our goal, so too does every share, every like, every comment on our content. It helps us get our message out and reach your friends and network of people who maybe don't follow us or aren't curling fans or don't know the telethon is happening today. Our foundation is synonymous with curling and with the Scotties, but your donations to help purchase life-saving equipment for babies stretches far beyond just the curling community, and it goes into every corner of Canada. That's why we've given almost $6 million across every province and territory. So engage with us on social media. Just as critical as your donation is that engagement and helping us spread the word to new followers of the Sandra Schmirler Foundation. And we also want to thank all of the Scotties participants for helping us spread the word on their social networks and with their legions of fans. They created videos and they shared posts of ours to help spread the word, and we learned about them. It was great to see all the little ones on the videos with their moms before they headed off to Thunder Bay. You can check those out on our social platforms. And it was interesting to learn about some of the frontline workers who are on the ice this week competing in Thunder Bay. People like Carly Everest of Team Nova Scotia, who is a NICU pharmacist, and Sarah Colton of the Northwest Territories. She's a medical student. We had former board member Sasha Carter of British Columbia. Just so many of the athletes and coaches who've supported us year after year. Often they're answering phones in the arena, but this year, of course, they're helping spread the word about the telethon online, and you can do the same to help us. So, coming up between the afternoon and the evening draw here on our live stream, I'll be back to share some of those social media comments and posts and stories live. So, stay tuned for that and drop us a comment with a challenge or who inspired you to donate.
All right, well, that was just the social media aspect of this world. And it's so funny because Joan was talking about technology and how technology is helping these little babies. Well, technology is helping us in getting those donations.
Absolutely.
And live streaming, right?
That's right.
That's what it's all about. We're on sandraschmurler.org and Facebook Live, right? So there's 2 streaming abilities to find us, to keep track of it. And when we were talking about the increasing amounts of donations every year, when you think about it, and we were talking with some of the organizers earlier, how it keeps growing. And how does it keep growing? Well, because more people are getting involved through social media. So obviously we have a phone number there. That's probably the way I would still phone it in quite often. But a lot of people are thinking, hey, social media, that's such an easy way to do it. And you can do it at your own convenience. You can do it in your pajamas if you want. So there you go.
I mean, that's how people are working these days, so why not? I want to actually get to the map. We were talking about the donations, and we've talked about where the money goes in terms of the equipment and what's needed to help these NICUs across Canada, and that's what we're going to take a look. And Joan, it's interesting because we were talking about money and how much is raised, but now we're going to take a look at how much is gone to each province. Daryl, Joan?
Well, it's funny because when we first started this this foundation, we wanted to get, our goal was to get to every province. Wouldn't it be great if we got one donation to a NICU in every province and every territory, just like teams represented at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts? Well, now there is 87 hospitals across the country that have received donations, and you see as we go across the country here how much has been given per province. And the map doesn't show the locations on every province, but let me tell you that there's many. We definitely we follow the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. For example, this year in Thunder Bay, Thunder Bay will receive that donation. But we also there's actually forms on the website that hospitals can apply for grants from the Schmurler Foundation, and that's also like beyond our dreams 20 years ago. 20 years ago, when we thought, hey, you know, we'll reach out to the hospitals in these spots and we'll see what we can do for them. And now it's kind of, we've gotten to that point because of all the donations that have been made across Canada, that people can come to us and ask for how, you know, this is how much money we would like and what we would put it towards. So there's a long-standing record of the kind of donations that were made by the Schmurler Foundation. And so as you see, as we go across Canada through all of the provinces and through the territories, that some are more than others, and of course a lot of that is based on population. It's based on need. It's based on where we've gotten so far, but you know, with this kind of fundraising, we can do even more.
Right.
And you know, I'm going to tell you, one person on that board in one of our brainstorming sessions 20 years ago said, think big, people. This doesn't have to be just in Canada. This could be across the world. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, you must think Sandra's way more popular than what she is. And now, 20 years, and I look at that, this tremendous increase that you were talking about just last year, just everyone's so surprised by how much was raised. And the year before in Moose Jaw, which I thought set a record here local in Saskatchewan, we have so many givers in Saskatchewan, and then it just kept going. Now I think, yeah, we could keep going. We could keep helping sick babies all over. So what an interesting concept.
And when you talk about 87 different hospitals, how much easier is it for families to get to these places,
Yes.
because you
Right.
put them in different cities, different locations. You don't have to just travel to Ontario or to Vancouver or something. There are for hospitals in Saskatoon, Regina, so it's closer and a lot more accessible. That's so important. And you're right, Joan. As we watch the numbers across the country, you think, wow, $1 million for this province of Saskatchewan, 1.5, I think, for Ontario. That's a lot of places, a lot of hospitals who have those billy blankets and the viewfinder, the vein finders that
Yes.
we talk about too. So a lot of that equipment is everywhere, and it helps. And now they don't have to travel hours and hours and put their whole family through extra stress.
So I'm not trying to rush things along, but I do want to get to an interview that we've been waiting for. And so that, of course, you got an idea of where all the money goes and how it's kind of dispersed in all the different provinces. But I want to get to the Schmerler family. Sandra's daughters, Sarah and Jenna, are ambassadors for the Sandra Schmerler Foundation, and they, along with Sandra's mother, Shirley, are joining us to help kick off this telethon, and they're joining us live now. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Yay! Oh, you guys are so fun to check in with.
Oh, you guys look good. It's so wonderful to see you. You know, you guys have been involved with the Telethon Day for many, many years. What's it like to be part of this day for your family?
Oh, you go. I'll go first. It's always such a special and exciting day. When we get to be there in person, and in the future, there's just a buzz in the air. And so we brought that into our house today, and hopefully you're bringing it to yours as well.
You know, over the years, I've been answering, the phones on Telephone Day, but when I travel across Canada with my broadcasting job, I cannot tell you the thousands of times that I've been asked, so how are Sarah and Jenna doing? What are they doing? Are they well? What's their careers? Would you mind sharing? Let's start with you, Sarah. What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I just finished up university. I have a degree in sports rec management, which is, funny enough, the same degree that my mom had. So I'm working in sport. Right now I'm part-time with Curl Sask, helping them with their provincial events here in the province. So that's what I'm doing professionally, and I'm still curling competitively. I'm playing on Team Inglot with Michelle. And so sadly our season ended early, not getting out to the Scotties and Thunder Bay, but still trying to work towards that goal. So still competitively curling, which is really exciting for me and a big part of my life.
Okay, Jenna, how about you?
I also finished university. I got my Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. And now I'm working here in Regina in our local hospitals in the adult intensive care units as a research assistant.
And with an eye maybe to a future, maybe in medicine? Maybe?
Yeah,
Jenna's
maybe a future in medicine.
I'm really smart
right
girl.
now oh, thanks, Joan. Right now on the research side of things, but I'll keep you posted.
Okay. And Shirley, man, you look great. I hear you're bionic and have a new knee, which is wonderful.
I have a brand new knee and it's working just fine. My thoughts on the foundation and the telethon. I don't answer phones because I don't have a good hearing, but on the tarmac, collecting donations, it is such fun and so stimulating and exciting, and seeing all these people, and I hope someday that will be back.
That's right. Shirley would be at the Scotties, right on the concourse, talking with people and collecting donations. Folks, it's the whole family's involved, and of course Shannon was one of the original board members as well, Sandra's husband, and I know he's involved too. Daryl, do you have a question?
I interviewed Sarah. I was writing a story a while ago, and I was telling her that I followed her because Sandra was pregnant with Sarah when you guys went to Bern, Switzerland, and I asked Sarah about this, about the foundation, and now that she's curling at such a high level, because Sarah and Jenna were so young when they lost their mother, and Sarah said that this type of thing, the foundation and being asked about her mother, helps find out more about her. Because is that a fair way to say it, Sarah? And you could put it in much better words than I could.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It's like you said, Jen and I were really young when she passed, so we didn't get to create those long-lasting memories. And so getting to hear stories and all the connections that she made across the country with different people. I think every event I've curled in across the country, someone has come up and told me something about my mom. And with every story from those different people, I get to know her on a deeper level. And that's why I love being able to get in person at the Scotties, because you get even more when the whole day's about her. So hopefully one day we'll get back there and we can learn even more about how she touched lives across the country.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's nice to check in with you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to check in with you later on or throughout. I'm not sure, are you getting an opportunity to answer phones as well?
Yes, we have. Yeah, so if you call in, you might come chat with us.
Yay! So look at that. If you're calling in, you get a chance to either chat with the Schmerler family, or you get Joan, or you get Daryl. I'm just going to man the mic here. I'm not answering phones. But thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we look forward to checking in with you later on today.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So I think we're going to go to our first total.
Oh, right
Just
on.
like that.
That's fun.
We're going to have Sarah come up on stage with numbers. No, I'm just kidding. That's not that's not happening. What, do we have a total? I don't think I... Okay, yeah. So it's just going to pop up on the screen like magic. Oh, here we go. Why am I nervous?
I feel like we're on a game show.
Oh my gosh. $215,997. Again, looking at those numbers, talking about over time where we've seen in the past 20 years the numbers change. What does that feel like, Daryl, when you see that number?
Well, it means people have been up early calling in, obviously, right? Obviously, this is the accumulation of some donations that came in before the Scotties started. But it's tradition. Vic Rauter mentions it on TSN that the Sunday, the first Sunday of Scotties, is Sandra Schmerler Day. It is in Thunder Bay. They've declared it Sandra Schmerler Day today. So it's cognizant. Everybody's thinking about it, and it's tradition now. So people, as it's growing, people are donating quicker and quicker, and that's great. When you see that number already, holy, we're all what percentage of that is if we're up to 250,000, we're almost a third of the way there.
There you go. Well, we have about 30 seconds left, Joan. I'm going to let you wrap it up because we've got the afternoon to draw to get to, and we don't want to take up any more time. So, Joan, last few words before we head off.
Well, I think that donation reflects that it's not just the legacy of Sandra that people want to give to make sure that the legacy continues. It's a worthy charity, and it touches all of us and all of our families and friends that need support with babies that are born too soon, too small, or too sick. So numbers on the board. Please call in and be patient, and hopefully maybe we'll talk to a few of you during this next draw. Enjoy the curling, and we'll certainly see you after the next draw.
That's right. We'll be back in just a bit. Enjoy your afternoon, folks.